Why I Left the VTuber Community, a warning to new VTubers by Zyla Gal.
Oh, this is gonna be fucking interesting. I don't even fucking know what the hell I'm doing. This is a rant. Okay. This is not some freaking Sunny V2 bullshit. Okay. Yo, I'm back to yell into the void of the internet after my long hiatus. I'm here to digitally hold the VTuber community against the wall by its throat and let you all know how being in this toxic relationship for the past 2 years makes me want to blast old school Melanie Martinez at 4 a.m. like I'm a troubled kid in high school again. Aside from a thinly veiled attempt to let my own voice be heard about how badly this community has further f***ed up my mental health as well as others, I also genuinely want this to be a warning to anybody who has plans regarding to becoming a VTuber, because I wish I knew this shit like 2 years ago.
Valid.
So let's talk about it. Just to clear this up right off the bat, when I say VTuber community, I'm not talking about viewers who like watch our content. I'm talking about the community of virtual content creators, mainly on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. You don't fucking fight me. All existing, talking, and posting in a bubble amongst themselves, interacting with each other more than the average viewer. I joined the VTuber community in October of 2021. That is 2 long fucking years of watching.
That's a long period of time, yeah.
While my content creation has been on and off throughout the current length of my streaming career due to health and schooling complications, I have always done my best to stay involved with the community itself up until recently. They made me feel included. They were always boasting about how they wanted to shout out new VTubers and give them a platform and how they supported minorities and how they were boasting about the community was so open and caring and, you know, all this.
So she does bring up a good point. This is a good point because this is actually one of the reasons why I initially fell in love with VTubing as a concept. I remember Natasha Nanners, her VTubing debut. I remember Haruka Caribou's debut. I remember Project Melody's debut, right? I remember all of these big faces you see around the VTuber community. I remember Bow the Whale. I remember her debut. I remember Shy Lily's debut and a certain VTuber just absolutely talking smack, which I thought was incredibly insensitive and unfair, which, you know, that got addressed by Shy Lily, just kind of laughing it off, which good on Shy Lily. And I do hear a lot of this rhetoric. It wants to be a environment where people are accepting, an environment where people are helpful, an environment where people can help each other. Me, as a male VTuber, how many posts have you seen about we need to support our male VTubers? If you're a male VTuber, comment down below, and then that post gets no traction. And it's to the point it almost feels like it's just a spirit week of, hey, let's support our male VTubers. And it's a spirit week, and the amount of male VTubers I've seen try to get going, and they just can't get it going. The amount of VTubers I've seen that have attempted to do something and just fall through the cracks, while you have VTubers that, you know, they make it big after debut or on debut or very shortly after debut, and suddenly they're collaborating and you know, working with other big VTubers. So it almost feels like it's rather exclusive. The reason that I fell in love with VTubing, one, let's be real, I have a built-in green screen, right? I got a built-in green screen. That's cool, right? That's super ballin'. I love it. And it allows for self-expression, right? It allows for a number of things that otherwise aren't really possible. Like, for example, because I have my model pulled up here, right? If I have my model, I can have a staff on, put my wings on, change outfits on the fly, change expressions, right? There's so many things that I can do with this that it's cool. And it allows for that self-expression, and it allows you to be a dragon VTuber, allows you to be a bat VTuber, allows you to be a whale VTuber, right? There's so many things that it can do for you. And that self-expression, that comfortability and identity, and also security, right? That's one big thing that you have to consider when you do content creation, when you do things like YouTube, when you do things like Twitch. If you're showing your face and you go to apply for a job, they will look at, why are you doing this? Okay, well, we don't want to be associated with you if you're going to be doing, say, I don't know, firearms content, or, I don't know, reacting to political situations like a lot of bigger React content creators will do, right? That can scare employers off. And also, it makes sure if people are trying to Facebook stalk you or stalk you, it can throw them off a little bit. So there's a security reasons that go in with it as well. I do like that already off the bat, Zyla Gal is nailing a lot of the concerns that I myself have, and also kind of mirroring the hopefulness I have for VTubing as a sphere.
amazing stuff. Just to realize that it was all fake, a ploy to use as many people as possible in order to climb the chaotic Jenga tower that it is to be a successful VTuber. Long story short, this community doesn't care who they need to step on or step over to get more followers. Now, you're probably sitting here going, but Zyla, that's the internet in general.
True.
And yeah, you're right. But the reason why I'm pointing this out is because the VTuber community has itself up on a high horse. They're claiming to be the exception of this bad behavior,
they're not.
when they're actually the example. Before we get further into this, I do want it to be known that I will not be doing any name dropping, going into specifics on certain VTubers or events, for examples.
I can respect this.
Because this is a community issue, and I don't want to single anybody out. So you will have to take all of this with a grain of salt. You know, this is my experience. Yours might be different. That's understandable. Whatever. We good? So let's just get into like the overall entitlement issue. I know it's been said before, but I do genuinely think a very large part of the community has this idea that if they spend a lot of money on a hat, bro. That if they spend a lot of money on a hot-ass VTuber model with big booba, they would be an instant success. You know, thousands of views, subs, diehard fans, and being set for life, even if they deny it. That's what they thought. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with wanting to do content creation as a job, but you need to be realistic about it.
Yes.
And a lot of VTubers just aren't. Between you and me, they seem a little bitter, actually. A little information about me. I personally became a VTuber because I was fucking lonely. I was in a
mood. Oh, God, I feel this. That is a
dark place in my life, and I thought, you know, if I stream, I could force myself to play games, do art, the things I enjoy, while, you know, having some people around and not being alone. You know, a fun way to force myself to be productive again. And
makes sense.
For a while. Other people, however, it seemed that once they realized that expensive VTuber model doesn't always equal success right off the bat, they suddenly got real fucking angry at anybody who was doing well. We're talking genuinely wanting to see people fail or get hurt.
I think there's a difference here, right? There's a difference between, like me, for example, right? I put out a decent amount of work, and I can look at other people in my sphere. I can look at other React content creators, and I can look at them and go, but you don't do nearly as much work as I do, or at least at face level, right? Or you have people helping you do this. I think being jealous is fine. It's acting on that jealousy, right? Saying, oh, well, I want this person's career to suffer. No, that's not how being an adult works, right? I think that you can look at someone and you can say, man, you know, I don't know what they're doing that I'm not, but that also prompts introspection. What am I doing that they're not doing, and vice versa? What are they doing that I'm not doing? Am I not good enough to be a content creator? Is this a doomed venture from the start? Or am I just doing the wrong content? Is this sphere going to be great for me, right? There's a number of things that go into that, but I would argue the healthy way to kind of diffuse that jealousy, diffuse any animosity, is that introspection, right? And that can be as simple as, am I doing something wrong? No. This person just has big booba. This person's just overall more positive. This person pauses in more appropriate spots and adds React content. Or, unfortunately, with the React content sphere, it could be, well, they uploaded this literally 30 minutes after this video went live and added like nothing to it, right? Which is a thing you have to look at in the React content sphere. It is a problem, and I'm going to acknowledge it as a problem. So, yeah, no, I can definitely empathize with a lot of this, and I can definitely look at this and go, yeah, that makes sense. And they're absolutely correct that a more expensive model doesn't necessarily equate to success. It's a gamble. It can help you get your foot in the door a little better, but that doesn't necessarily equate to success. You can spend $20,000 getting this model rigged up. But if you're not entertaining, if you don't have the ability to read chat, if you don't have the ability to kind of think on your feet and to troubleshoot where you can, or have someone troubleshoot where you can, if you just aren't a people person and you're not entertaining, who's going to watch you, right? If I were to put out a 14-hour reaction on a 7-hour video, who's going to watch that? Realistically, right? I might want to do it because I think the subject is fun, right? And that's perfectly fine. But to your average audience member who's going to look at it and go, why is this idiot talking for 14 hours and doubling the length of this video, right? It might not be entertaining to them. They could hear me out, watch the original video. It's a novel concept. It blows my mind that I still get those comments. Anyways, you get what I'm saying, right? if you're not entertaining, all of the coats of paint in the world aren't going to help you. And there are people that get frustrated because it's not instant success. I think that's a disingenuous and narrow way to look at not just VTubing, but to look at content creation. There are absolutely people that will get on TikTok and just blow up instantly. There are people that get on YouTube and blow up instantly. Some deserve it, some don't. We have, Pirate Software. I think Pirate Software deserves every bit of success that he has. Dude, just super legit. Dude has a lot of really cool points. Dude has a lot of wisdom to him. I honestly recommend him. I just haven't reacted to anything of his because, it's shorter content, right? Shorter content, and, shorts and clips and stuff. But love the dude. There are people, both good and bad, that make it big every day. And it's never too late to do it. But you have to acknowledge it will be a lot of hard work. If you're looking, let's take it from the perspective that I've worked from, right? You have to deal with copyright. You have to deal with strikes, claims, counter-strikes, counter-claims. If you want to get to that point, potential legal, you have to deal with housing and funds and that. You have to deal with time it takes away from friends. You have to deal with time it takes away from family. You have to deal with remembering to eat and drink throughout the day. Seems like, yeah, that'd be pretty reasonable, right? Oh, pretty easy to remember. The amount of times that I've totally forgotten to eat. Let's be real. And it is a different balancing act. And if you take a week off, you can absolutely kill your metrics. You can absolutely kill your channel. But sometimes you really just need a week off, right? There's different considerations that you have to make when doing this line of work. And a lot of the time, it's not going to be that instant success. I think that is a flaw in logic for people wanting to get into this.
It almost felt like, to them, watching a bigger streamer fail meant that their audience would come down to the people with less viewers, when that's not how that works at all.
I think it's a fallacy.
You need a good personality and the drive to post content, you dumb. but really though, they actively hope that bad things will happen to bigger streamers. They'll go off on rants about how they don't think these people deserve the following they have. And usually the one bitching about how unfair it is being the one who doesn't post content, post on platforms, or does anything to build their audience aside from bitching on Twitter.
Damn, you're right.
That has nothing to do with it. I've seen people go as far as to cry that big corporate VTubers are all assholes and terrible because they don't bring on smaller streamers for collabs.
But that's a brand risk thing. That's entirely brand risk. Can you imagine a company like HoloLive doing a, hey, brand new VTuber, collab with us? That could be a brand risk. What if they just, I don't know, shout the R word or shout a racial slur? And, oh, I meant it as a joke, bro. How that could come back and affect HoloLive, right? Or affect any other talent agencies or corporate VTubers. You have to understand that can have an effect, and that does play into that, right? I have had a few collabs, and I'm very, very picky with my collabs because I don't need somebody coming out and saying something that is just a slur, that's insensitive, that is absolutely off the wall, because while they're just someone coming in, I'm still left holding the bag in that case, right? And that goes for other people as well. And even then, there's just better collab partners out there. Do you think that, let's take, for example, I'm not going to name names here. Let's take someone who is like, a couple thousand viewers consistently, right? Do you think that them collabing with somebody that's just starting out fresh is going to have as much as a reward as someone else on their tier or slightly below their tier? That way they can help each other progress, right? These are all considerations. Generally, it's not done out of malicious intent, at least in my opinion, but you kind of have to make yourself worth it. You kind of have to market yourself, so to speak, and prove that you can be in this sphere, which unfortunately, sometimes you can just get glossed over. Sometimes you can just do everything you can and it just not work. So that is something to consider.
Let random people you don't know onto your stream and just hope that they don't do or say anything to get you in trouble with.
Exactly.
I don't know. Twitch, your partners, Vtuber Corporation, your sponsors, Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic idea. I'm sure that won't backfire at all. I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves here. They usually stream with other big streamers because those people also have a lot to lose if they piss off the platforms they stream on. They can usually trust other big streamers to act professional, or at least what's considered professional in a VTuber setting, because for them, that is their job. Yeah. Besides, why the fuck would anybody want to hang out with some random person they don't know who's demanding rather rudely that they are somehow entitled to your time and space? I know I fucking wouldn't. Block, Bye. Like, what? It's not being mean. It's being realistic and having boundaries. And besides,
there it is.
You all sitting here yelling about how mean and terrible big streamers are for not rolling out the red carpet for a person they don't know. Don't act like you're some innocent fucking victim. You look dumb. Because it is beyond clear that you only want to stream with these bigger creators to build a following for yourself off their back. You just want to use them. It genuinely does feel like every other person in this community has main character syndrome, and they somehow think that they're entitled to other people's time, space, money, and energy. Speaking about that, let's talk about boundaries, or the lack of them.
Thank you. We're going to talk about boundaries. Oh my God. For a community that is very accepting, or at least tries to be very accepting, there are some really god-awful boundaries. And from experience, if you try to set a boundary, you just get overridden. You get yelled at. This is not how this works. It feels, and I've said this before, the VTuber community as it stands, the overall community feels like high school 3.0, right? Bowling for Soup, high school never ends, right? And you have high school you go through. You got your cliques. You got your nerdy kids like I was hanging out, playing Yu-Gi-Oh in the library. You get your quiet kids just reading in the library. You get your athletic kids that are hanging out with each other. You get your musical kids that are in the band room, right? Everyone kind of finds their own spot. And then you get into the workforce, and it's more of the same old crap. SSDD, right? Same shit, different day. And you get it's like, well, okay, these are these type of managers, and this is this type of coworker. Well, he's off doing whatever he is again. He's breaking policy, and I'm having to clean up his mess again. And it's just more of the same stuff. But it feels like it's worse than the workplace somehow. It feels like it is a step between high school proper and the workplace. It feels like it's in this middle ground here where the VTuber community is. You'll have people that will absolutely say, well, I need to set boundaries, and they will absolutely override your boundaries. You have people that, yes, are absolutely wanting to collab with somebody, not because you'd like to do it, but because they just want the clout from it. That's why, as much as people have said, well, Kip, I'd love you to collab with this person. Kip, I'd love you to collab with this person. And the very few collab requests I have sent out, it's why I'm careful with that. And especially when I'm reaching up to somebody bigger. It's like, do not feel obligated to do this. If you have to say no, say no. I'm not interested in clout chasing here. That's not my thing. I could care less. If I react to your content consistently, if I talk about you consistently, if I follow you in any capacity other than, hey, well, maybe sometimes I like your post or something like that, it's because I believe in you and what you do, which is an oddity in this sphere. So understand that these are things that all go through my head when collabs are mentioned. And people don't understand that. They just want the quick and dirty, I want my road to success. And, it kind of, from experience, it sucks to see someone doing half the work you are, but, if they blow up, 3 times as much. But what are they doing that you're not doing? Or are you doing everything that you can to realistically put out the content that you're doing, right? These are all important considerations to have that a lot of the VTuber community lacks.
It does tie into the last point, but it does need its own section, because holy fuck. The amount of motherfuckers who think that the VTubing scene is some form of speed dating.
Oh, I can't stand it.
Is insane.
No.
Like, why are you here? What? Go on OkCupid and creep people out over there, okay?
Yeah.
At least they expect it there.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about parasocial viewers here. I'd actually prefer that over this bullshit.
Yeah, that's different.
Okay? You interact with another streamer. You get along, kind of hit it off. Maybe you have a few calls and servers with other streamers you're both mutuals with.
Right.
Have a good time, and you finally decide, hey, you're pretty chill. I either consider you a friend or at least a very somewhat trusted mutual.
Right.
Let's do a collab together.
Okay.
And suddenly, this person decides that means you want to date them.
Yep.
You, a streamer, collabing with another streamer, basically the equivalent of a group project for your shitty 9-to-5, suddenly means to them that you want to date them.
No.
My voice.
You see, once again, high school 3.0. This isn't even remotely the same thing. And if anything, I would argue, as unfortunately, apparently the adult in the room in a lot of situations anymore, that if you are going to look at a situation where someone asks, hey, I'd like to collab with you. Would you like to collab with me? That is a benign statement. If somebody is going to, and I'm going to use the word inappropriately take that comment, read further into it, and say, oh, well, I guess you're just after some tail, or I guess you're just after trying to date me. No thanks. No, bro. N-O. Dude, we are doing some mental gymnastics here. And if anything, to me at least, that showcases a real immaturity. And there's going to be people like, oh, well, Kip, that's going to be one of those things that kind of is a deal breaker. I would never want to collab with you. And that's fine, honestly. I've had to do this solo for how long? And I'll keep doing it solo as long as I physically can, right? That does not bother me any. And if anything, I feel it's an odd selling point that I still continue to, with the help of my mod team, continue doing this solo as much as I can. Because, I mean, that's such a reach in logic that we're not even playing the same game. I'm playing American football. They're playing, like, tennis, right? Like that, these are not even equal. Now, that's different if somebody does have dubious intent or romantic intent behind it, but unless that's communicated, what reasonably can you infer from a collab request that equals dating? I think that it's inappropriate for streamers to date viewers. I think that it's inappropriate for creators to date viewers. That being said, there's people that do it. There's a very notorious situation in the Vtuber community where an agency VTuber had a harem of fans that, no. Now, if you made it work and it's fine, everyone consents, look, you live your life. I'm not the one to judge you. As a general rule, I do think that it is unprofessional and inappropriate. I think that she's hitting a lot of good notes here.
I did that. It's so stupid. This is the kind of bullshit you would go to HR for.
Yes.
And the next thing
harassment.
You know, they're telling all your mutual friends. You got other VTubers feed into their delusion, and they won't take no for a fucking answer because, oh, but we get along so well. Everyone thinks it'd be so great together.
No.
But you don't want to lose a friend, or you don't want to cause drama, and you're thinking, this is just a misunderstanding. They don't mean any harm by this. We'll just talk it out. It's fine. It's like,
if someone ever pulled that with me, I would be the first person. I would expose that chat log. I would be setting my statement. I would make sure everybody knows what happened. I wouldn't care how many bridges I burnt. If your intent is to slander me, you have another thing coming. Kip is me, right? I am happy and positive and bubbly because I used to work and live with really awful people, real narcissists. I know how to play that game. I don't like playing that game. I like being here. I like commentating on stuff. I like being that person to try and get people to go to different creators, creators I've reacted to, like the Russian Badger, the Fat Electrician, Maxor, people that I believe in, and I think that they are doing next level stuff, right? I don't want to be that negative person. I don't want to be that narcissist. Do not play that game with me because I will sniff you from 10 miles out.
You try to be civil about it. It keeps going downhill for 3 fucking months until it gets so uncomfortable and toxic that you just cut them off completely. Mm-hmm. And now suddenly, you're the bad guy.
Exactly.
And your personal issues with somebody who wouldn't take no for a fucking answer is suddenly posted all over Twitter. People are, for some reason, demanding you explain to them why you said no. All right, then you do that, okay? 6 more times in 8 months, okay? Doesn't sound fun, right?
No,
and
it's
for full
not.
Transparency, this is not my personal experience, but the frequency that I've watched this happen in my own circle and the community
it's child's play.
Is,
it's high school.
What's the word? Disgusting.
Just say
and this
stupid.
bullshit with people trying to turn every person they stream with into a dating sim, then going all nice girl / guy TM on them, genuinely does get to the point where it's harassment in some cases.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing this up because this is almost normal in the community. It happens constantly, and it's just looked at as normal. Because I don't know about you, but I'm here to make content, not deal with this fucking preschool drama.
What a concept.
With that, love bombing's a huge issue in this community. I never once went into any interaction with the idea of using someone.
No.
Every person that I've called a friend, I do genuinely see them as friends, even if we don't communicate anymore. So when I found out just how common it was in this community to just tell people what they want to hear, of course we're friends, I love you, you're like family to me, just to disappear and use people as stepping stones or throw them under the bus the second they're no longer convenient, broke my fucking heart. Because there's some
I've had to deal with too many cults. I've had to deal with too many people that proclaim themselves cultists. Oh God, I can't stand. You're just part of the family. We'll treat you like one. We'll just adopt you. Oh, you're one of. You want to talk about red flags? Oof. Hip has an entire laundry list of red flags that I look out for in people like that.
Genuinely great people here. I have never seen this be such a constant issue in any other community I've been in aside from VTubing. And this shit's a two-way street. You aren't going to be super close or even friends with every single person you collab with.
Exactly.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's a job for a lot of people. And a lot of people need to learn that if someone doesn't want to interact with you further than a work relationship, you need to fucking respect that. You can't just pretend to be someone's friend either. It is a very normal and well-known occurrence in this community that people are just going to, you know, befriend each other, let them open up, just to leverage what they can use against them later on. Both sides are very shitty. Honesty is a very unknown concept in the Underdark known as the Vtuber community. Motherfuckers got me rolling for insight 5 times a day. Okay, listen. Okay. I joke about it here and there, but I don't make it a big part of my content, so I'm saying this right now. Okay? I'm a woman kisser.
Sure. Okay?
So we'll talk about this.
Congrats.
I'm not gonna lie, for the first half a year or so, I felt pretty safe as an LGBT girly in the Vtuber community. That is until some mutuals of mine and myself started to notice a few fucky-wucky things going on. It became very apparent that what seemed like support started to stink bad. Kind of like that stack of dishes in your depression room.
Yeah.
We started to notice a very large amount of people.
Thankfully, it's not dishes for me. It's just doom piles. I don't. No, old food and me don't go together, especially being a dishwasher for a number of years. No. Dishes are really pet peeve. No, I'll just have doom piles of like paperwork and games and camera equipment and stuff like that. Laundry in some cases that I just haven't folded and put away. That's those are my depression doom piles. It's not dishes. Oh, that one's next level.
That only had something to say about minority or world issues as long as it was trending. And they could attach a bunch of hashtags to it. You know,
hashtag male VTubers.
Mutuals or friends as clickbait for clout during months dedicated to a certain group. Only to then use those same posts to cover up their own bad behavior later on. No, Twitter officer, I can't be a bad person. I tweeted on November 15th of 2022 that homophobia is bad. Therefore, anything I did or said afterwards doesn't count. The part that really pisses me off, though, is the constant habit of talking over minorities and telling us what we should be upset about. Now, this has been brought up with other communities in VTubing, but I'm only going to speak on the side of LGBT here because it's not my place to speak about the race issues since I'm... Anyways.
It's why I don't speak on the Latinx comment because it's actually come up a few times in the past week on stream. Well, Kip, what's your opinion on Latinx? I have friends that are Latino. I have friends that are Mexican. They say it's pretty bad and that it's not good. Therefore, I, as an milquetoast individual, milquetoast male, go, cool, thanks for letting me know. I'm going to defer to you and not use it. And that's where I take that. It's not my place. It's not my place to change the world on that. It's almost like I defer to the specialists in that and ask people I trust on their opinions and take on the situations. And if they say, yeah, homie, that's not how that works. Cool. Thank you for clarifying. I will now use that. I will now do this or not do that as appropriate, right?
There have been numerous occasions now where an issue involving the LGBT community has come up with a streamer doing or saying something shitty. And while I do genuinely believe that terrible behavior should be called out, that's not what this is anymore.
Okay.
I have seen so many times now, someone will get accused of being an asshat. They provide evidence against it. And yet the VTubing community just pretends they don't see the evidence. If I don't look at it, it doesn't exist. This post can't bother me because I can't read.
Object permanence.
That kind of bullshit? Because why admit that you might be wrong when you can just feed into the mass rage and get easy followers from it?
Right.
Or even worse, there have been times where members of the LGBT community itself will say, hey, you know, it's okay. We don't think it's offensive. It's not that big a deal, guys. And then suddenly we're being turned on by the people who apparently care about us so much.
Yeah.
While they're sitting over there sending death threats in the name of our community, which doesn't help.
No.
Okay? That makes shit fucking worse.
Yeah, it does.
You aren't helping us. But that doesn't matter because the point of you doing this isn't because you want to help, is it? And while a lot of people acting like this in the community that I've noticed are not LGBT, there are definitely LGBT people who jump on this. And I want to say something directly to you, okay? Everything else aside real fast. I get it. I understand. The world is shitty. for us right now, especially for our trans friends and family. People online can try to ignore it or say that we're overreacting, but 140 anti-trans bills is not something we're exaggerating. Rising violence and homicide against people just trying to live their lives is very real. You have a right to be upset. You should be upset. I am too. But the issue here is that misdirecting it is causing more harm than good for everyone involved. And I do really think that's what it is. I think that the reason why you're joining in on this anger with people who are using our community for clout and rage bait is because you're scared. You are rightfully scared and angry, but you don't have the ability to direct that at people who are actually causing the harm. So it's getting taken out on a different outlet. It's getting taken out on people who have nothing to do with the shitty decisions being done. It's getting taken out on people playing certain video games or watching shows or listening to certain music. The world is shitty. People need to have a little bit of ignorance to enjoy things and not be depressed constantly. And that's okay. As long as someone is self-aware and they're not actively making excuses for bad behavior, that's fine. It is not the be-all tell-all to decide if someone's a good person or not. I mean, Disney was an absolute piece of shit, but I'm not going to sit here and accuse someone who went to Disneyland for a vacation that they agree with all of his old opinions, nor am I going to stop having a deep love for the movies that I grew up with. I can point out and admit that they're real shitty in some cases, but watching them doesn't mean that I condone the assholes who made them. And again, the most viewed videos are posted.
So this gets into the artist versus product, right? That gets into the artist versus product debate. And that's one of those that I don't have a 100% foolproof cookie cutter. This is what this is. In my opinion, it is all incredibly subjective to the situation. If you say have an artist, right? If you say have an artist that denies a certain H event in World War II, right? Trying to skirt around that. And you look at them and go, excuse you, you're denying what happened? I'm not going to buy their product. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that that's even remotely intelligent, and it speaks to their intelligence level as an individual. That being said, if it happens to be a beloved series and someone else, does it, am I going to call them a certain end sympathizer? I don't think that's necessarily proper. Once again, it depends on the situation. It's incredibly subjective to a bunch of different things. And that can be in the extreme end of the spectrum, right? Let's just say, I don't want to pay for the next Call of Duty, right? I don't like Call of Duty. I don't like the direction the company's going, right? And your buddy buys Call of Duty, and are you going to, you're going to get mad at your buddy saying, you're just feeding into the video game industrial complex and you're actively making games worse? Or is that a bit of an overreaction? The material at hand, the source, the origin point of the contention there is important to consider. And then you consider, how does this affect you? How does this affect people in your life? How does this affect people that you don't know, like certain groups, right? And I think that is all incredibly subjective. I think that this is the most, reasonable take that I can really throw out there, but it's also my opinion. It is incredibly subjective to the situation. At the end of the day, are you being a good person? Are you being a shitty person? That's really all that I have to live with myself and that you have to live with yourself. That's how I look at it. And at any point, if somebody starts screeching at you for something that you view as this is kind of strange, you have the ability to just walk away, right? If somebody goes, well, Kip, you like this game, right? So you're clearly, liking X means Y. What are you smoking? I've started laughing at people that will comment on my stuff about, Kip, you're just lazy, and you're stealing content, and you're this and that, and rat content creators are the scum of the earth because they don't cite in the description. I just laugh at them at this point. It is so funny to me that people can't actually read a description and showcase. I can poke holes in their arguments all day. It's wild. There are people like this that exist out there, and at a certain point, I just have to laugh. Live the best way that you can. Be educated in what ways that you can, and make your own decisions, and be willing to stand by your own decisions. I think that this is how reasonably to be an adult.
That I have personally seen that are flat out going, you can't play this game or watch this movie or listen to this music.
I know what situation is talking about.
They're not usually LGBT people. They're quote unquote allies, and it grinds my fucking gears. Not only do these rage tweeters not give a flying fuck about us or our community, but they're just giving actual bigots a bigger fucking target.
Yeah.
Okay. We all knew that this was coming. Again, this can technically tie into all the other points I've made, but this does need its own subsection like the rest of them, because what the flying fuck, you guys? I have been on the internet for a lot longer than I probably should have been. I have been in countless communities. I've made art and content for other fandoms, groups, websites. I've been everywhere. I was on Tumblr during the Sonic social justice era. I watched that all go down, and the FNAF artist who shall not be named. I have seen shit, yet I have never seen another community that tears itself apart from the inside out to the extent that I've seen the VTuber community do, all while being so fucking giddy about it. Now, you may have heard the term VTweeter before. VTubers who hardly stream and spend all of their time on Twitter waiting with foam at the mouth to grab any piece of drama they can. And like I said before, the point of them doing this is jump on any issue or drama that's being talked about so they can make a post going, well, I would never do that. Look at me. I'm such a good person. You should follow me. And this type of clout chasing got dangerous really fast, because it went from calling out legitimate terrible behavior and abuse to ruining people's lives over minor personal issues for like 5 extra followers. I have seen on more occasions than I have fingers on my hands at this point, situations where a VTuber has been accused of something, and no matter what the situation is, no matter how big or small it is, people not only instantly believe it without needing any evidence at all, but treat the issue as if the streamer flat out fucking killed someone.
Oh, it's cancel culture at its finest is what it is. Yes, these people actually exist. I have made some pretty L tweets, and even then, it's one of those things that it's just like, I don't like using Twitter anymore other than browsing art or stuff at this point because these people exist. And then you start getting into the, oh, well, these people are clearly against this, and so I should be against this too. And it's very easy to get swept along with that. And you know what I did? Instead of just sitting around talking all day, I started doing stuff. And oh, damn, it's almost like when you broaden your horizons and you don't sit in an echo chamber that Twitter is, right? It's almost like you can formulate your own opinions on things and you can grow as an individual. Hot damn, who would have thought that? The literal fix for this is for these VTweeters to get off their asses and actually do something. But you'll never see them do it. They will bitch all day. Like, for example, let's use React content, right? Because it's a sphere I'm in. They will bitch all day about how React content is theft and how people like me are ruining YouTube as a platform, and there's nothing more damaging to YouTube as a platform than React content, which I would vehemently disagree. I think that copyright, especially music copyright, is killing the platform more than anything else is, especially with how the copyright system, while under penalty of perjury, you can still say, nah, bro, I'm filing this. Full send. I think that's killing YouTube more than anything else, but that's a whole different discussion. No, these people exist, and they will sit on their ass all day and do this, and bitch, and complain, and whine, and won't actually do anything. Do something. Motherfucker, go out for a walk. Touch some grass. Talk to people that aren't just echoing it. It's an unhealthy behavior. It's an unhealthy habit. It's toxic in a lot of cases. Yes, these people do exist. And I try very hard with the understanding that people like me, people of the VTuber model, are going to be seen as equivalent to these VTweeters. I try very hard every single video to have valid talking points, to try and meet people in the middle where I can, unless the subject is just so egregious that there is one reasonable answer, right? And I try very hard, despite being a part of the community that effectively is seen as a spirit week. Support our male VTubers. Comment if you're a male VTuber down below. You know, we'll want to send them some support. And I've seen that exact same format over the past couple of years. And in my opinion, it never leads anywhere. I, as someone who is a male VTuber, as I identify right now, right, feel like nothing more than a commodity for a spirit week, to only come out when I'm required, to drum up someone else's numbers, to drum up someone, oh, look, see, they're showing support for our male VTubers, and it really is a damn shame. I'm looking at this video, and I'm glad that it's not just me seeing some cracks in the VTuber community, that someone else has the ability to have cognitive thinking skills, This blows my mind, actually.
Regardless of the severity of it. Death threats to them, their family, their friends,
That's not okay.
harassment, doxing, you fucking name it. I recall one situation where that started happening to somebody over being accused of stealing a design from someone simply for having similar color palettes.
Yep.
For fuck's sake.
Yep.
When you create this type of environment where you want to be in the majority's favor so that you can get easy followers, you need to be mad with them, regardless if you think the issue deserves the amount of backlash it's getting or not. That community is no longer safe. They will turn on you in an instant, no questions asked. Your friend can make up a lie about you because you piss them off on a random Tuesday, and suddenly you're the next target. Even if you know what's being said isn't true, nothing that you say or show them will matter because they've already decided that you're in the wrong.
Nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
Hey, Maxor.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
True.
I agree that there are terrible people online who need to be called out for their bullshit.
Yes.
Mainly to make other would-be victims aware, but that's not what this is anymore.
No.
There's one.
This is not calling out Sniper Wolf for doxing Jack's films. This is not that. What this does turn into with VTweeters is, look at this person playing Hogwarts Legacy. Look at this person playing this game. Oh, this person misgendered this person one time, even though they corrected it, right? I've had a situation where I accidentally misgendered someone I was collabing with. And I said, you know what? I will full on own to that. That is my apologies. I happen to know them before this transition. I will take that fat L all day, right? And I own up to that. Hey, my bad. Absolutely my L. But I take it and I learn from it. No, these are the people that look at the exact same situation and they will send me threats. They will attempt to dox me. They are absolutely unhinged. These are not people that are logical, rational, reasonable. They are not. And you have to understand that. And that's why a lot of people, in my opinion, look at the VTubing community and they laugh at us. Like, for all intents and purposes, can you blame them?
Incident that sticks out of my mind about this. And I'm sorry, but this is going to be vague. I debated on it for a while, but I finally decided that I wasn't going to drag specific people into
makes sense.
this for many reasons.
Logical.
So again, grain of salt. A rather large VTuber was accused of doing something pretty fucking shitty a few months back. Something that, when I first heard about it, I was upset. I admit that I believed it at first because of just how upset everyone was. And I was sad that another big streamer was copying a jackass, because I genuinely don't understand why it's so hard to just not be terrible, you know?
Yeah.
But then said streamer came back with proof that they didn't do what they were being accused of. Proof that you could personally check, by the way. Proof I did personally check, by the way. And they were telling the truth. And that's great. It was a misunderstanding, and there isn't another jackass in the community.
But here's the thing, and I've talked about this a number of times. You have one shot to get your message to your audience. You have one shot at making sure what you want to be said is the thing that you say. If I say Master Chief is in Halo 3 ODST, and that's in the video, and that is the one thing people latch onto, I can make a community post, I can make a follow-up video, I can make a follow-up video series, I can make a tweet, I can make a Facebook post, I could do anything. That one instance of me saying that incorrect information is going to stick out like a sore thumb, and that is what's going to gravitate to people. This is evidence of this.
That's great. That's a good thing, right? And not really. Not only did the Vtuber community on Twitter just completely ignore the proof, they pretended it just flat out didn't exist so that they could stay mad. Or even more asinine, people claim that the proof didn't matter. I even watched someone go as far as to just flat out make up random quotes the streamer never said, that the community on Twitter would then share around because no one bothers to check their fucking sources.
Is that not slander?
They don't check their sources because they don't care.
Exactly.
They ignore the evidence because they want to. They pick whichever side helps them get more followers at the moment, not who's actually in the right. The lack of morals disgust me to no fucking end. So I left.
Yeah.
About 8 months ago, I deleted Twitter from my phone. Only went on to post things here or there, like maybe once every 2 months. Don't check my feed. Blocked VTuber tags on TikTok, you name it. Because I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with the toxic fake positivity to lure people in to use just when it's convenient. I'm tired of them talking over and using minority or world issues they don't actually care about just to get new followers.
Exactly.
I'm tired of the lack of boundaries, the constant doom and gloom, and the gaslighting if you have the gall to try and bring up that something's wrong. And To be honest, I'm probably gonna lose some friends when I post this. But that's okay. I just want to be a virtual creator.
Yeah.
Not a VTuber.
You have built-in green screen.
This is what being a VTuber means
now.
No. I don't even think this will get a lot of views anyways. But I did want my voice to be heard before I walked out because I was honestly scared to say anything before whenever I watched this stuff happen. So yeah, if you want to be a VTuber, do it.
Exactly.
I'm not telling you not to with this.
You can do it.
VTubing is a great way to meet more people like you, being more creative and having fun without having to worry about, real life issues. Because, we all need that escape sometimes.
Right.
Like I said before, the world sucks. And if you do become a VTuber, please just remember my absolute rant of a warning. And don't let the VTuber community drag you down because I've seen them just destroy way too many people already.
Yeah. No, just take this as a warning. They do not do it, but at least be armed with this information.
Hey, if you're still here, long time no see, huh? Thank you so much for watching till the end. You must have a lot of free time. I'm glad you spent it with me, though. I do have more videos in the works, and I plan on coming back to streaming very soon. So if you want to stick around, I'd appreciate it. I promise my other content will not be as bitchy as this video.
Mood.
All right, love ya.
I feel that. The amount of...
Come on, Zy. Fuck.
I think I said her name was Zyla Gal, unfortunately. It's her Zyla Gal right here on the bottom. 8,000 subscribers. I honestly thought this was a banger of a video. This did highlight a lot of issues that I have seen in the VTuber community, and I thought that I was just crazy at this point for noticing certain things and no one else really saying anything. So, Zyla Gal, if you do see this, thank you. Thank you for a absolute banger of a video that shows that other people are also noticing issues within this community, that are showing how a lot of people are going to be fake, how a lot of people will just change their allegiances, change their opinions on a dime for clout. People will just outright dismiss information and embrace mis and disinformation. I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that's a good standard going forward. And, it also showcases that you don't have to identify with the VTuber community if you want to do this. As I've said many times, one, security is paramount to me. I don't have to show my face doing this, right? Now, doing some of the content I want to, that might be a little difficult going forward, but that's also one of the things that I also like, having this kind of persona, like having this model. I have built-in green screen. It's super cool. I just have to plug this in OBS, have a certain setting tick, and bam, I can be anything in the background, right? It's super cool. You can express yourself in whatever ways you want to. You can make a model that's a slime. You can make a model that is a dude with a pig's head. You can make a model that is a dragon. Make a model that's a slug, right? You can have be a PNG tuber, right? There's a number of things that you can do, and you can either identify with the community or not identify with the community. And honestly, I've been debating on it for a hot minute. And actually, my buddy Baka has been saying for a hot minute, just Kip, you need to delete Twitter. And at this point, I do love some of the creators I interact with, but it's turning into a cesspool. It has been for a hot minute. And, I've gotten as far as I have, just trying to react to what things I can, trying to bring conversations to light, trying to have these discussions. And, I don't really have a group I do things with outside of my mod team. So thank you, everyone, for watching. First off, thank you, Zyla Gal, for making this video. If you are curious about their content, if you want to check this out, and I do recommend that you check this out because honestly, it takes no small amount of strength and courage to make a video like this, knowing what the VTuber community is. Right here, you will also see in the description of this video the name, link to the channel, link to the original video. You will see all of that in the description. Zyla Gal, I hope this was transformative enough for you. I hope I added a lot of discussion pieces. If you are not okay with this as React content, please don't hesitate to reach out to me via email. If you want this taken down, I'm more than happy to take this down. I, try to do what I can to make sure everyone's okay with React content. And when I do react to stuff, I try to be as transformative as I can. But thank you everyone for watching. I definitely do appreciate this. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. If you have been part of the VTuber community, or if you have seen the VTuber community do this exact same thing, and if this makes you think about, oh, that actually does make a lot of sense, or I have noticed that, and this is actually an issue. Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you, everybody.